So the government for time now has basically been talking about passing laws which would ban conversion therapy. For people that don't know, conversion therapy is basically carried out on members of the LGBTQ plus community, and it's basically an attempt to there's a way of saying it, but I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically a way of trying to convert people's sexuality by different means. So it might be tried by like doing various psychological things, by hypnosis, by it goes to very different extremes. But I think in all cases it's very demeaning, and it's wrong. Like, you shouldn't try to change someone's sexuality or the way that they're feeling. It's not a disease. It's not something that needs to be cured. And it's crazy to me that this hasn't already been banned before now. However, a few weeks ago, the government came out and said, okay, we're going to pass this legislation. However, they announced that they were actually going to exclude trans and non-binary people from the ban. So basically, conversion therapy for lesbian, gay, and bisexual people, that will be banned, but not for trans and non-binary people. However, if you look at the government's own data, it actually shows that trans people are at an unparalleled risk of being victim to conversion therapy, and by like stopping this conversion therapy from being banned, that it's just going to continue going on, and people can continue doing this without suffering any punishment, because it's not illegal at all. Like, they obviously, like, you can't stop someone from doing something that isn't illegal, you know what I mean? And for me, it's just, I don't get, like, I don't see that. How can you, like, what was the actual reasoning here? Like, why would you just choose to exclude trans people from this conversion therapy?
As a psychology student, when we learned about conversion therapy, it was the most, like, one of the things that stuck with me most of how disgusting it was, because in America it was common practice until like a few decades ago, maybe like the 90s. That could be wrong, but I honestly think like it was very recent till they like realized it's still not illegal there either, but like till they stopped making it common practice. To then acknowledge that it's bad, it doesn't work, and that it's like detrimental to people, but then still marginalizing groups and keeping some groups excluded and included within that ban is messed up.
Yeah, and it's obviously they haven't actually come out and said this, but what I get personally from that is that they're saying it's we recognize that you can be gay or you can be bisexual, but we don't recognize being trans or being non-binary as being a valid thing, because if it is a valid thing, then obviously there's no need for conversion therapy. Whereas by not including them as part of this legislation, they're obviously sending out the message that, yeah, we still see this. Like, obviously this is what I get from it, that they're saying, oh, it's weird, oh, it's this, it's that, like, therefore conversion therapy is okay. Like, because if they didn't think that, then why would they not include it? You know what I mean?
I think they're essentially saying like being transsexual is still curable. It's still something that needs to be sorted out, that you can then return to like a normal, air quotes, state, to like back to not being trans anymore, essentially. Using this conversion therapy, the only reasonable explanation, there must be some kind of like theoretical basis for conversion therapy that they're using to support this claim, because otherwise there's no good reason for them to ban it for sexuality issues and not on the issue of gender. It's
just really sad because this has all happened within a couple of weeks of the first trans MP actually coming out and saying like, I'm trans, and it's a member of the leading party's own party. It's a Conservative MP that's come out and said this. So for them to come out and then within the space of a week, 2 weeks, to then find out that their own government, their own party is not actually supporting the motion to ban conversion therapy for them. And I'm also just kind of like, what? Like, why?
Conversion therapy has absolutely no efficacy. There is like there is no evidence really to show that it's ever worked on the grounds of sexuality, gender, personality disorders, psychiatric symptoms. There is no evidence to suggest phobias. There's no evidence to suggest that conversion therapy works.
Yeah, I imagine it just leaves you traumatized.
I don't advise that anyone does this, but if you're interested, just Google some of the stuff that they were doing in America in the like 70s and 80s with gay people. It is harrowing, some of those stories. Like, it is literally petrifying. It's disgusting. Like, very, very, very violent and traumatic.
I think it goes to show as well, like with many social issues, you can come around and say like, oh, like it's not illegal to do this anymore, it's not illegal to do that, therefore it's over. It's very clearly not. There are very clearly still the people in power who have these troubled mindsets, and it's pervading through into today's generation as well. Like, just, yeah, I think people really need to actually get on top of this and push. Like, I'm not sure where to direct people, but I'm sure if you Google, you can find out how to. I believe the best thing to do is to actually email your MP